Hello, everyone. Welcome to Legal Recaps. In this case, Christine Joy Capin-Cadiz, a human resources officer at an institution of the Episcopal Church of the Philippines, was dismissed for engaging in premarital sexual relations with her then-boyfriend, resulting in a pregnancy out of wedlock. The labor tribunals deemed her actions as immoral and disgraceful, asserting that her conduct was inconsistent with her role and allegedly scandalized the community. However, the institution's policies did not clearly define immorality, and their approach was flawed. Sit back and relax as we uncover the story that lies behind this case. Let's dive right in, shall we? One day, Christine Joy Capin-Cadiz, an HR officer of the Brent Hospital and Colleges Inc. in the early stages of her pregnancy, was in her office and enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning. Moments later, her boss, the HR manager, went to her and asked her to come to the conference room to discuss a private matter. Concerned, she dropped her mug and went along. As they entered the conference room, both sat down across each other, and the HR manager told her straight up that she is being suspended indefinitely due to unprofessionalism and unethical behavior resulting to unwed pregnancy, and that the suspension shall remain in effect up until such time that her boyfriend marries her. Later that day, Christine went home devastated and immediately told her boyfriend the shocking news. They both decided that it was unfair for the school to fire her and decided that they wanted to sue Brent. Upon hiring a lawyer, it was discussed that the case against Brent would be for unfair labor practice, constructive dismissal, non-payment of wages and damages with prayer for reinstatement, all of which they filed with the labor arbiter. And so, on April 12, 2007, the labor arbiter ruled that indeed, Christine's indefinite suspension amounted to a constructive dismissal. However, there was a valid cause for her dismissal since she was engaged in a premarital sexual relations with her boyfriend resulting in a pregnancy out of wedlock, and that her immoral conduct was magnified as a serious misconduct not only by her getting pregnant, but more so by the fact that Brent is an institution of the Episcopal Church in the Philippines operating both a hospital and a college where she was employed. Lastly, the LA also ruled that she was not entitled to reinstatement until she marries her boyfriend. Aggrieved by the decision, Christine's lawyer appealed her case to the National Labor Relations Commission, which unfortunately reaffirmed the decision of the labor arbiter. So they elevated the case further to the Court of Appeals, but again met with an unfortunate verdict. The CA dismissed her petition outright due to technical defects in the petition. As a last attempt to fight for her rights, they went to the Supreme Court, arguing that the NLRC gravely abused its discretion when it held that the impregnation outside of wedlock is a ground for the termination of employment. The main question to be resolved here is whether or not Christine's premarital relations with her boyfriend and the resulting pregnancy out of wedlock constitute immorality. While both the LA and NLRC found Christine's actions as immoral and punishable under Article 282 of the Labor Code, arguing that as Brent's human resource officer, she should be the epitome of proper conduct, the Supreme Court disagreed with their conclusions. With this in mind, there is a need to revisit the ruling in the case of Laos versus St. Scholastica that involved similar circumstances. The Supreme Court ruled in that case that the determination of whether a conduct is disgraceful or immoral involves a two-step process. First, a consideration of the totality of the circumstances surrounding the conduct, and second, an assessment of the said circumstances in relation to the prevailing norms of conduct, or what the society generally considers as moral and respectable. In this case, Christine, a human resources officer at an institution of the Episcopal Church of the Philippines, was dismissed for engaging in premarital sexual relations with her then-boyfriend, resulting in pregnancy. The labor tribunals deemed her actions as immoral and disgraceful, asserting that her conduct was inconsistent with her role and allegedly scandalized the community. However, the institution's policies did not clearly define immorality, relying instead on a dictionary definition of fornication to justify the dismissal. This approach was flawed, as the circumstances in this case do not automatically equate to disgraceful or immoral behavior. Jurisprudence establishes that morality is judged by public and secular standards, not religious ones. Whether a conduct is disgraceful or immoral depends on prevailing societal norms. focusing on behaviors detrimental to the existence and progress of human society. An act's nonconformity with the sectarian institution's traditional views does not automatically render it immoral unless it also violates public and secular standards. Furthermore, substantial evidence is required to prove that premarital sexual relations and pregnancy out of wedlock are considered disgraceful or immoral. The circumstances of this case do not support the conclusion that Christine committed acts of immorality. Like in Laos, Christine and her boyfriend were both single, had no legal impediments to marry, and eventually did so on April 15, 2008. The labor tribunal's claim that Christine's indiscretion scandalized the Brent community is speculative and unsupported by evidence. As ruled in Laos, no law penalizes an unmarried mother for her sexual conduct, nor prohibits consensual sexual activity between two unmarried individuals. Such behavior does not contravene fundamental state policies. While Brent is a sectarian institution, Christine cannot be subjected to its religious standards of morality unless explicitly stated in its personnel policies. Brent, likewise, cannot resort to the 1992 Manual of Regulations of Private Schools, or the MRPS, because the court already stressed in Laos that premarital sexual relations between two consenting adults who have no impediment to marry each other, and consequently conceiving a child out of wedlock, gauged from a purely public and secular view of morality, does not amount to a disgraceful or immoral conduct under Section 94E of the said law. Brent's condition for Christine to marry her boyfriend as a prerequisite for reinstatement highlights a stark conflict between management prerogative and labor protection. While employers have discretion in managing employment standards, Brent's policy, which is meant to uphold the sanctity of marriage, clashes with fundamental labor laws and constitutional guarantees. Article 136 of the Labor Code explicitly prohibits employers from requiring marriage as a condition for employment or reinstatement, ensuring that women cannot be dismissed, discriminated against, or prejudiced based on their marital status. Furthermore, the Magna Carta of Women upholds a woman's right to freely choose her spouse without coercion. Brent's demand is not only baseless but also oppressive, stripping Christine of her freedom to decide her marital status, which clearly undermines her inherent rights as a woman. While a marriage or no marriage qualification may be justified as a bona fide occupational qualification, Brent must prove two factors necessitating its imposition. First, that the employment qualification is reasonably related to the essential operation of the job involved. And second, that there is a factual basis for believing that all or substantially all persons meeting the qualification would be unable to properly perform the duties of the job. Brent has not shown the presence of neither of these factors, which is precisely the reason why the court cannot uphold the validity of said condition. Christine is entitled to reinstatement with seniority rights intact and back wages from the time her pay was withheld until reinstatement. If reinstatement is not feasible, she may receive separation pay as financial assistance, limited to the period before her actual separation or when reinstatement became impossible. The court, however, granted only limited back wages and denied her claim for moral and exemplary damages. It ruled that illegal dismissal alone does not prove bad faith, and without clear evidence of arbitrary or malicious intent, such damages cannot be awarded. In the end, Christine's fight wasn't just about her job. It was about standing up for dignity, fairness, and personal freedom. The court's ruling affirmed her rights, rejecting oppressive policies that sought to control her choices. Justice was not only served, but reaffirmed for all women. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and don't forget to subscribe for more legal recaps.